here with Jeremy Dumkrieger, Democratic candidate for Board of Supervisors District 2 seat. So start off with, can you share a little bit about you that people may be unfamiliar with?
Unfamiliar with? Well, I grew up south here in Monona County. Attended East Monona, which consolidated later on to be many, many other schools. My hometown was smaller than Dimmitt Hall, where I moved to in Morningside College. I've lived here for probably the last 20 years, I think it was. 2003 I moved here. It's about 20 years. I worked for Mid-Step Services for a few years. I worked a lot in Bronson for a couple years. Now I'm up in the Sioux City school system.
Yeah, awesome. So what initially made you decide to run?
I think there's a lot of factors that initially led me to run. I think it goes back to my wife having cancer and our insurance maxing out, and us dealing with that struggle, which got me into politics and working to elect people who will do a good job of doing the best for people. And that led into me deciding to put my hat into the ring into this, because I want to make sure that people are being represented equally, and because that's such a lopsided board of directors is all Republican, it would be good to shake things up a little bit and try to get some other ideas in that arena. I think that's the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm. So what issue is your top priority?
My top priority would probably be mental health. I had a friend who killed himself a few years ago. He had addiction problems, and I see what's happening out there and around the city. There's lots of panhandling going on, and I think that's a symptom of something larger that's happening. I see kids in school who maybe not get the care that they need. So I think it's very important to focus on that. I see a problem with the hospitals being overflown with people, overrun basically with people who are just using the emergency rooms as like a bed and breakfast sometimes, I guess I've heard, I see the ambulance services in the rural counties. Eventually it's going to be a crisis for us because there's not going to be that service. And so I think those are the top priorities, is we have to make a plan for the future in the next few years, because what's going to happen is mental health and care is going to be a critical mass. It's worrisome.
So what sets you apart from your opponent?
Well, I don't know my opponent really well. I think the thing that sets me apart is that I am a different mindset of person. I'm not that rubber stamp guy who's going to go along with Jeremy Taylor and Matthew Ong every single time. I think that there needs to be someone who will say, no, I don't, with someone who disagrees, right? Just plain and simple. And not disagree, just to disagree, that's wrong, but to maybe put a different spin on things, a different point of view. Mm-hmm.
So if you're approached by voters with issues, what's your process of addressing those?
Well, I listen to them, what else is there to do? You got to keep an open mind. There are ideas that I have all the time that I change my mind on when I read more about it, or I hear about it, or I experience someone's, if you put yourself in their shoes type of thing. You just have to listen and study what they're talking about. I wouldn't take it at face value. I'd go listen to them and maybe talk to the other side of someone on that issue to get the full scope of what's going on.
So are there areas of the supervisor's budget that you feel don't get enough funding?
I worry that supervisor budget. I worry that some of the deputies aren't getting enough pay in comparison to some of our neighboring counties. I know they paid less than, say, Plymouth County, for example. I worry that with the new jail, that the officers there aren't going to get enough money in comparison to those places, and we're going to lose talent. I know I did talk to the sheriff, and he said that a lot of his deputies under him, the sergeants and whatnot, are making sometimes less than the people patrolling the county. And that causes a problem because we can't get the good folks to move up into those positions or to stay here in Woodbury County. So I think that's something to take a look at. Does the sheriff necessarily need a 22% raise? No, right? But we need to figure out a way to make the most talented deputies stay here, because I guarantee you that we have a lot more problems in Woodbury County than they do in Plymouth County.
Mm-hmm. So what are your plans on reaching out to voters if you're elected?
If I'm elected, well, I've planned on doing town halls. I would likely do something like Rob Sand does every week after the meeting, put out a video of what's going on, that type of thing. I say town halls already. Maybe I did. I can't remember. But I would go to every town meetings and stuff. I would go. People invited me to come. I'd go. Sometimes I invite myself to show up and see what's going on. At the end of the day, I am a Democrat, right? But I am open to everybody because it's Woodbury County, right? Home is home, and this is where we are, right? It's really that simple. Yeah. And people might not believe that, but that's the way that it needs to be, the way it has to be. And really, the supervisor, I wish it wasn't even a partisan thing. I wish it was just best man for the job.
Well, those were the main questions that I had. Is there anything else that you wanted to add or talk about?
That was it.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you coming out.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.